Just want to ask you about the importance of trying to close this out in Game 6 and not have the series extend to Game 7.
Well, for us, I mean, we had a good day today. And, I thought yesterday was an opportunity for people to rest up and refill the energy reservoir. Today was about working at a piece of our game. And, that was structural or part of our game that we want to continue to improve at. But our mindset hasn't changed from the very beginning of this series, which is that it's a race to 4 wins. And, our challenge that's immediately before us is to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to make sure that we play our best game in game number 6.
Jay, you've known Evan Bouchard for quite a while now. How would you say he's evolved his game since you first got to know him in Bakersfield?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's physically more mature. He's mentally and emotionally more mature than he was as, just a fresh-faced kid coming out of London and playing his first professional game or some professional games in Bakersfield. I think the way his game has evolved is through experiential learning. They say, you really don't know what you have in an NHL defenseman until they've played 200 NHL games. That's an old saying, but there's a reason there are old sayings. I see someone who's continuing to improve and has really taken off in the second half of the year.
Do you subscribe to that 200-game threshold?
I think there's merit to it for sure. I don't know if that's a hard and fast rule, but it basically means the more someone gets a little bit of experience against defending and playing against the best players in the world at that position, that's when you really learn what you have.
And you said the second half of the year is where he's taken a big step.
Yep.
A lot is attributed to Matthias Ekholm coming. How much of that is Matthias, and what has Evan done to do kind of the steps for himself, I guess?
Yeah, well, I think we saw Evan take a step in the second half of last year as well. Thought the playoff run last year helped him gain valuable experience. I thought in the second half this year, we talked about bringing in Matthias, but that by doing that meant that Tyson had gone to Nashville, and that gave Bush a little bit more opportunity as well. But there's, something to be said for being ready for your opportunity and taking advantage of an opportunity. And I certainly see how that has helped him. And then you couple that with, the synchronicity of playing with Matthias, it's gone well for him in the second half.
Jay, thought on home ice. You've won 2 of your 3 games during the playoffs, but that's been the exception rather than the rule. Around the league, it's 2/3 of the games have gone to the road team. And even in the regular season, you had a marginally better record away from home. When you hear those numbers and see that trend across the league, what comes to mind as potential reasons why?
Good question. I can't answer that for the league. I know for us, playing on the road, we have a mature group. Where we're at in the life stage of our team, we feel comfortable playing the game anywhere. It could be neutral site, could be at home, could be on the road. I think we're past the point of going into certain buildings and, worrying about this or worrying about that. I think we put a lot of time and effort on making sure that our game translates. Home, road, neutral site, Hudson Bay, doesn't matter. We'll play anywhere.
From the outside, many people believe this 3-day break can only benefit the Kings. Not necessarily hurts the Oilers, but can only benefit the Kings. How have you tried to make it benefit the Oilers?
By using our time wisely, number one. We made sure to do our work so that we were able to see things clearly and see things going forward clearly. It's an opportunity to rest bumps and bruises for both teams. We felt good about our practice today. We took care of business today and worked at our game. And then, depending on, what time games are, all all that kind of stuff. We're being patient and we're using our time wisely. In the end, we recognize that we have to play our best game of the series in order to close a team out in game number 6, and that's what we expect to do. We expect to play our best game of the series on Saturday.
Hi, Jay. When Ryan McLeod debuted in the playoffs a couple of years ago, he was a very new NHLer.
Yep.
How do you contrast his understanding and performance of playoff hockey, as compared to, and I know you're in Baco, but you've been watching him.
Yeah.
Contrast and see that growth.
Yeah, he's in the same kind of category as Bouchard, and actually him and Bouchard came to Bakersfield during the playoffs, and at that time, so I've seen them all along the way. I think it goes to experiential learning. You can talk about what playoff hockey is all about, but until you feel it and you understand the things that are required in order to find success at this time of year, it's tough to duplicate unless you've gone through it. And I think the more our younger players experience it, the better it serves them long term. Going back to spending time in Bakersfield, I think one of the mantras we had down there was that we wanted our players' first professional playoff games to happen in the American League, not in the NHL, so that they learned what it took at that level. And then that serves them well for when their first NHL playoff game is. But, we've went on a deep run last year, and we've got a lot of younger players, some experience that only helps them as they move forward.
Thanks.
Jay, last year, games 2 and 3, you scored 14 goals and really dominated offensively. The last 2 games, you've gotten 11 here in the last 5.5 periods. What did you take from, or what can you learn from last year? And after that, the goals didn't keep coming for game 4 for one game. How do you ensure that doesn't repeat itself? If you look back, was there anything that you learned from that game 4 that you can take for this year?
I think every game and every year is different. They play themselves out the way they play themselves out. I think where our focus is on the present. It's making sure that we're staying in the present. We're learning the lessons of games that are being played from game 1 to game 2, game 2 to game 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, to help set you up for success in game number 6. We pay attention, and there's things that we want to tighten up, and then there's things that we want to look to accentuate.
I don't expect you to give me the scouting report or anything, but it seems that your forwards or your group have honed in on a certain area at times and where they want to shoot. There's a lot of goals going upstairs, far side at times. As the series goes along, when you're playing that same team, you watch a lot of film. Is the difference sometimes just what you can pick up early in a series that can benefit you later in a series from video?
I think you're always trying to learn lessons, and the more that you continually play a certain team, the more patterns emerge.
I was just talking to Warren Fogle. He said 5 years ago when he got called up to Carolina, last 2 games of the year, played 2 games, scored 2 goals. Both goals were assisted by Derek Ryan.
Wow.
They both talked about the chemistry that they felt right off the hop. Do you see that chemistry between them and along with Ryan McLeod that Reed was talking about?
Yeah, I think they've been a good line for us. I think both of those players are easy to play with. They have certain skill sets that lend to being complementary type line mates. And, I didn't know that about that Carolina, but I'm going to share that with those guys now that I know. Good.
Jay, I think through the ups and downs so far in this series, your team's ability to stay even-keeled has been a strength for you, especially in Game 4. Where does that come from? Where does that start?
Well, I go to the life stage that we're at, or the maturity level of our leadership group that sets the tone for our team. We talk a lot about staying even-keeled, not getting too hung up when things aren't going your way, and not getting too high when they are going your way. For us, it's about returning to a baseline to make sure that we're in the proper mind frame to take care of our business whenever that is. you know, our players have done a really good job, and I would say that comes from our leadership group.
Game 6 a year ago, if you could take me back for a second, Conor McDavid, what do you think of, when you think of the performance he put down in that game in LA, what recollection do you have?
Yeah, I saw someone take the game over from the opening puck drop. You know, he did what exactly our team needed him to do, which was to set the tone. That game also, you know, there was a scrum. Leon gets pulled down from behind, and the way he soldiered on was amazing. But we got great contributions in that game from lots of different people. I think Darnell was suspended for that game. I thought, you know, Kulak and I believe Chris Russell played in that game. You know, we got contributions, and in the end, we stuck with it and found a way to win late. But that was a year ago.
Yeah, those aren't things you reference every day. I get that.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, though, as you talk about the maturity of your team and your leadership group and stuff, are those the signposts along the way? Are those the things that sort of the building blocks?
Well, you hope so. You hope so. And the one thing that we have is we have an experience of going into LA to try and win a game number 6, and that's what is immediately before us. So while circumstances are a little bit different here or there, we have the experience of going down to Los Angeles and trying to win a road game.
Bouchard's taken Tyson Berry's spot on the power play. Is there a difference between the two of them, apart from one's quite a bit older than the other player?
Yeah, I think they're both excellent at the job, number one. They both have great skills to be able to quarterback a power play. I think Bouchard might have a little bit heavier of a shot, but Tyson had a gift for sifting it through as well and finding a way. Both are good at bringing the puck up the ice. They're different. They're different ages, different experiences, but both make it work on that power play.
And Janmark was on the ice to skate after practice.
Yeah.
He's talking like maybe next round. Is that the way you look at it too? I mean, I know you're dealing in the present, but is that what you're hoping?
Yeah, our mind is completely on the present, but I thought it was a good sign that Matthias, was on the ice for us today.